What's going on, guys? Welcome back to the channel. Thank you so much for joining me. I hope you all are doing well today. Today I bring to you a highly requested video, and this video is actually brought to us today by Battle Hub. Feel free to check out their channel. Original link will be in the description. You guys already know how I do. Now, I remember asking you guys previously in a recent video, could you please recommend some more military videos pertaining to Canada? I'm trying to learn more about Canada's military as a whole, and I'm trying to dig a little deeper. So I've been seeing a lot of recommendations of people telling me to react to the history of Canada's military. Here I am thinking we already did that. We didn't check that off the list. Today I bring to you military history of Canada in 8 minutes. Not 10, 8. Feel free to follow my Twitch in the description down below so you guys can check out these type of videos with me during the live streams. All different types of content. I'm telling you, you don't want to miss out on it. We're not just going to be reacting. I promise you.
Imagine a country so polite they say sorry before shooting back, where soldiers stormed enemy trenches and then probably apologized for the mess, where beavers are national mascots. But the military has a history that would make even the toughest generals nod in respect. This is the military history of Canada in 8 minutes. Let's go. Before Canada even had a flag, a national anthem, or hockey, this land was already a battleground. Indigenous nations like the Haudenosaunee Confederacy, the Mi'kmaq, and the Cree had complex alliances.
The Mi'kmaq and the Cree? Oh, that's my first time hearing about. Oh, I don't want to call them tribes. Indigenous nations. They're not tribes. Okay. I didn't know about those two other nations. Oh, man. You learn something new.
The Mi'kmaq and the Cree had complex alliances, rivalries, and military tactics that involved ambush warfare, intricate diplomacy, and zero tolerance for colonizers who didn't know how to walk in snowshoes. When the French showed up in the 1600s, things went from peaceful to powder keg. They built forts, traded beaver pelts, and made friends and enemies among local tribes. Then the British arrived and did what the British do best: colonize and argue about tea. Cue over a century of war between French and British forces, plus their respective indigenous allies, all fighting over land, rivers, and bragging rights. The big showdown came in 1759 at the Battle of the Plains of Abraham outside Quebec City. General Wolfe and General Montcalm both died, thousands fought, and the British took control of New France. So began Canada's journey toward becoming...
Wow. All right. Now, I was going to pause and ask, what happens after that? When both of those generals die, what happens? That happens.
One of the nicest militarized nations on earth. Now enter the Americans, who figured, hey, the British are busy fighting Napoleon in Europe. Let's casually annex Canada. But Canada said, not today, eh? The War of 1812 saw some of the most chaotic underdog heroics in North American history. British regulars, Canadian militias, and indigenous warriors, especially under the command of Shawnee leader Tecumseh, held off wave after wave of U.S. invasions. There were battles at Queenston Heights, Chateauguay, and even on the Great Lakes where ships fought.
Chateauguay in Great Lakes, huh? I do some research on these places and these nations. He mentioned tribes a little bit after that, but nations. I'm gonna go with nations. I don't want to disrespect any type of way until I get some clarification. Should I say nations or tribes?
Battles at Queenston Heights, Chateauguay, and even on the Great Lakes where ships fought like angry canoes with cannons. The highlight? A counterattack that reached Washington, D.C., where British and Canadian forces, alongside Royal Marines, literally burned down the White House. Yes, Canada helped torch the presidential mansion. America rebuilt it, painted it white to cover the scorch marks, and conveniently never brought it up again.
Yeah, I know. It's crazy too. They kept it in the dark. How you gonna do that? It eventually comes to the light. I know about it. I thought it was a lie at first, and then I had to really learn about it, and I'm like, whoa. My British people had to break it down to me too, man. Look, man, we did. We did that. I'm like, they over there repping. How they over there repping it in the comments like they did? It's about, yeah, we did that, Strac, in 1812. Wow. It's crazy. Yeah, the president, his wife, the staff, they all got up out of there because they knew it was going to happen. True story, man. I tell you, boy, the things they keep in the dark comes to the light. So eventually, it shall come to the light.
Conveniently never brought it up again at the
Again? They
UN.
never brought it up?
As the 19th century rolled on, Canada was piecing itself together like IKEA furniture, and naturally, some assembly required bloodshed. The Fenian Raids, that was when Irish-American veterans of the U.S. Civil War decided to invade Canada to somehow pressure Britain into giving Ireland independence. Canada's response: you brought a grudge match across the border? Really? Then came the Red River and Northwest Rebellions, where Métis communities, led by Louis Riel, pushed back against government overreach and broken promises. The Canadian military, still in its early stages, sent troops west via the brand new Transcontinental Railway to crush the rebellion. Riel was captured and hanged, sparking national controversy.
What? Wow. History can be boring sometimes, and then, history has, like, its crazy moments that really get you thinking, like, wow. That's the image it paints in your head of, like, how it was back in those times, because they're not doing that now. It was cruel.
Rebellion. Riel was captured and hanged, sparking national controversy. French Canadians saw him as a martyr. English Canadians called it job done. But what it really did was prove Canada needed a real, centralized military force, not just volunteer dudes with mustaches and opinions. Then came 1914, and Canada, as part of the British Empire, entered World War I with a massive patriotic push. And wow, did they show up. Over 620,000 Canadians enlisted. Not bad for a country with just 8 million people. In the mud of the Western Front, Canadian soldiers fought at Ypres, the Somme, and Passchendaele, places so miserable, historians still cry when they say the names. But it was at Vimy Ridge in 1917 where Canada really made...
What's so miserable about these places that people start crying when they mention it? What's so scary? What's so threatening about it? I want to know.
But it was at Vimy Ridge in 1917 where Canada really made history. 4 divisions, united under Canadian command, pulled off what French and British troops had failed to do: take the ridge. With careful planning, maps in every soldier's hand, and more artillery than a fireworks finale, they pulled off one of the most iconic victories of the war. It was muddy, cold, and insanely dangerous. But it gave Canada a new national identity: tough, strategic, and ready to do what the big guys couldn't. By war's end, Canadian troops were considered elite, shock troops of the British Army, and not just the polite cousins anymore. In 1939, it happened again. World War II kicked off, and this time, Canada declared war all by itself. No British permission slip required. Over 1.1 million Canadians served in the war. That's 1 in 10 citizens, and they did everything. They flew Spitfires in the Battle of Britain. They patrolled the Atlantic, dodging German U-boats like underwater mosquitoes. But their biggest moment? D-Day, June 6, 1944. At Juno Beach, Canadian forces stormed ashore with precision, courage, and an absolutely terrifying amount of maple-powered determination. They advanced farther inland than any other Allied force that day. They also helped liberate the Netherlands, forming a bond so strong that the Dutch still send tulips every spring in thanks. If you ever wondered how to win a nation's heart...
And I know it's only 1.1 million, or I think he said, like... Was that the number, 1.1 million? Yeah, I think close to that. Maybe that was the number. You would think that's a lot. It's really not, considering how many, people tend to lose their life. Yeah, you're going to need more people coming in, more troops. But that is a great number. Despite how many people are in total, or actually in Canada, great number. And you guys really did your big one on D-Day. And taking over Juno Beach, going up on shore, and you guys held it down.
How to win a nation's heart, help free them, then send flowers. After World War II, Canada didn't put its guns in storage. It just got diplomatic about it. As a founding member of NATO, Canada posted troops to Europe, kept an eye on Soviet shenanigans, and built NORAD with the US to watch the skies for Soviet bombers, because nothing says friendship like building missile detection systems in the Arctic together. In the 1950s, Canada pioneered peacekeeping, with future Prime Minister Lester B. Pearson winning a Nobel Peace Prize for crafting the first UN peacekeeping force during the Suez Crisis. Canada became the world's moral middleweight boxer, showing up to de-escalate global conflicts with blue helmets and just enough firepower to say, don't.
Blue helmets? Huh? That's not, that don't look blue.
With blue helmets.
That's not a helmet, that's a cap. Is that the proper term for this?
Firepower to say, don't test us. When 9/11 happened, Canada didn't hesitate. They sent troops to Afghanistan and joined NATO's coalition, focusing on Kandahar, one of the most dangerous regions.
Hey, Canada is a real one, because when 9/11 happened too, they actually I forgot the name of the airport, but it was like a ducked off airport. They was getting ready to just demolish. I'm talking about get rid of it, obliterate it, man. It was gonna be history. It was doomed. It was cooked. And they actually opened it back up and allowed the planes to fly in Canada so people could land there, because, you know, the airport was so filled and just crowded, and, you know, it was too much going on and just delayed. You know, people can't even take off around that time in 9/11. You think they let you take off from the airport? So the plane's in the air right now, you gotta land. You gotta land right now. You gotta land. You're not going to your destination. You can't go to JFK either. You gotta land, man. And where was their destination? Canada. Shout out to Canada for allowing us to, you know, come there, man. That big behind airport, all the planes fit there.
Focusing on Kandahar, one of the most dangerous regions, Canadian troops built schools, fought insurgents, and earned serious respect from their international allies. And then there's JTF-2, Canada's super secret special forces unit that works so far in the shadows. Their motto might as well be, "You'll never see us, but we were there." These guys operated with US Navy SEALs and British SAS, taking down high-value targets, collecting intel, and making terrorists rethink their life choices. Think of them as ghost operators in snow camo. Today, the Canadian Armed Forces are compact but highly professional, around 68,000 active personnel, but backed by world-class training, cutting-edge tech, and a lot of cold weather expertise.
You guys actually recruit in the process, like during the time of war, where there's like a conflict going on between another country, you know, the same as how the UK does? Or do you guys kind of just recruit everybody and just take everybody in like how the US does? Despite your defense budget, I know you guys have a budget and everything. That's why I'm asking. You know, it's probably harder to recruit. It's probably more risky to recruit in the process of a conflict, but it's cheaper, man. It's cheaper. And you guys could use that money towards other things, especially if you're not in a war or having a conflict with another country or anything. So please let me know in the comments. I'm curious.
Cutting-edge tech and a lot of cold weather expertise. They're investing in drones, cyber warfare, next-gen submarines, and Arctic defense, because let's face it, when the ice caps melt, someone's gonna want that sweet, sweet oil. Canada's ready. From Operation Reassurance in Europe to disaster relief in Haiti, Canadian forces continue to prove that you don't need to shout to make an impact. You just need grit, skill, and maybe a couple of snowmobiles. So, what is the military history of Canada? It's 1 part fierce and 5 parts humble. It's elite troops wrapped in politeness. It's trench fighters, beach stormers, peacekeepers, and quiet professionals who show up when it matters.
I didn't even know that they had troops building schools. Interesting. I didn't even know that, man. There's so much that the Canadian military has done, and I've never learned about that. Nobody really speaks on it. Good hearing about all the good that your country has done, you know, your military has done throughout these years. You know, because I've been hearing way too much negativity about Canada's military, and I'm done listening to it. I don't want to hear the negativity no more, man. They've helped us so many times throughout, you know, traumatizing times in history. Why are you trying to bash the Allies? Like, I just, some people are, oh man. Some people got to get it right and just understand and stop being so ignorant. If you guys enjoyed this amazing video of Canada's military history, learning it in 8 minutes, we really did learn a lot. Take it all in, you know, got to take the knowledge in and retain it. Please feel free to like, comment, subscribe, turn all post notifications on. Feel free to follow my Twitch in the description down below. We are so close to 100 subscribers, guys. So close. Feel free to continue to flood my comment section with more of these amazing educational videos for us to check out, man. Let's get back into the educational content, man, you know? let's get back into it. There's a lot more things we need to dig deeper into. Please feel free to spam my comment section and feel free to educate me on any information that may have been missed or not included in this amazing history video. Everyone stay safe, enjoy the weather in your beautiful country, enjoy your day, and I hope to catch you all in the next reaction video.